I put out a short a little bit ago asking people which one of a bunch of quarterbacks would be the first one to 20 touchdowns. But today I'm going to kind of expand on that. We're going to look at the tools they have around them and, of course, make our pick for who we think is going to be the first to 20 touchdowns in their career. I decided to keep the rookies out of this because that's a bit unfair. So let's jump right over to it. My name is Nick. This is Roll Coverage.
Hey, I thought it was all over.
Nope. They roll coverage.
Okay, so obviously I got a joke one in there. Hopefully you're able to take it with a little bit of a grain of salt. And that is, of course, this gentleman to my left, my right technically, but left on the screen, Kenny Pickett. Obviously he's the backup for the Philadelphia Eagles, so just wanted to trigger a few people there. So thank you for that. But the rest of them, Bailey Zappi, Bryce Young, Anthony Richardson, Aiden O'Connell, and Will Levis. Now, obviously, we can look at the stats. We got them up here on the screen. But I want to really talk about what's happening next for these guys. Now, obviously, Bailey Zappi is probably not going to get anywhere close. He's got 11 TDs, 12 interceptions, most likely going to be relegated to the backup position. So that's going to be basically eliminating him as well. So it's really those four in the middle. Aiden O'Connell, I think, will get the start. I think he's got great potential. Gardner Minshew is a veteran, so yes, I could also see him running it. I could see that offense being a bit more potent, but wouldn't you want to develop a quarterback that you're going to want to keep for a little bit longer? I would probably say so. Plus, when you look at these guys, like, say, for example, when we look at starts, Will Levis, 9 starts, 8 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. So almost a touchdown a game. Aiden O'Connell, 11 games, 12 interceptions. I apologize. 7 interceptions. So we're at about a little over a half for the interception, and he's over 1 a game in touchdowns. Anthony Richardson is over 1 in touchdowns as well, with obviously only 4 games and 3 passes. Oh, I'm sorry, backwards. 1 short of 1 a game. Bryce Young is the one where, unfortunately, my Carolina Panthers are struggling. 16 games and only 11 touchdowns. So if we just go off of those right there, Bryce Young, unfortunately, is relegated to the back of that class. Now, I do see my Carolina Panthers with a much upgraded offense. We bring in people like Jonathan Brooks. We bring in people like Jatavian Sanders. We bring in people like Xavier Leggett. Jalen Coker, I hope, makes the team. And, of course, Amir Smith-Marset in special teams. So this team has the potential to do a lot of great things. But unfortunately, I think the thing that will hold Bryce Young back, and I think the thing that will inflate his numbers this year, is the fact that our defense is not going to be able to stop the pass at a high clip, nor be able to rush the passer at a high clip. Even if we were to go out there and secure somebody like a Stephon Gilmore, I don't see that being such a measurable jump that we go from the 28th best secondary in the league to 20. Like he's not going to be that much of a game changer for us, unfortunately. And I think this is the year where Evero is really trying to build his resume for next year, possibly get a coaching opportunity, and get out of Carolina, to be honest. So that's going to be something that I'm a little bit concerned about with Bryce Young. Anthony Richardson, on the other hand, he has a lot of raw potential, but it was obviously cut short due to that injury. Now, pieces around him, he's definitely got some. Yeah, you return Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman, Josh Downs, Adonai Mitchell, and that's pretty much it. After that, it's a pretty solid drop-off. But, of course, Jelani Woods at the tight end and a really solid offensive line that I think will be able to hold up. We'll be able to make meaningful progress in the offense because I think Anthony Richardson and Jonathan Taylor are going to be so dynamic. And, again, the kid from Texas, Adonai Mitchell, kid is ridiculous. So he's going to be able to elevate them as well. So he may need 17 touchdowns to hit 20, but at the rate Bryce was going of last year, if that offense doesn't measurably improve, he could easily get beaten by a guy like Anthony Richardson because I think he's going to probably get close to 30 total touchdowns this year if he can stay healthy. Talking about Anthony Richardson. Now, obviously, that's utilizing rushing and passing touchdowns. It'll probably be like a 24-7 split or something like that, or maybe they might try something similar to the tush push because he's such a big guy. But I think he has potential. But again, his big thing is going to be health. Bryce was able to take a ton of just beatings last year. So the fact that he's still up and ready to go, I'm super excited for that. Aiden O'Connell, 11 games, 12 touchdowns, obviously is good. You, of course, bring in Brock Bowers, which I think is going to help the offense measurably. You retain Devontae Adams, even though Aaron Rodgers is saying that he wants to play with him again all the way over with the Jets. You guys have brought in some other pieces as well. Defense, I think, is going to be a good one. I think the first full year of your head coach and really, truly believing in him is going to help out the organization as well. Max Crosby and all the guys are bought in. It's just who's going to win this quarterback battle. Now, obviously, the race to 20, I could put Gardner Minshew in here and he would automatically win. But that's why I wanted to go with Aiden O'Connell. I think he has the potential to be the quarterback one, especially with those pieces. The safety valve of, like I said, Brock Bowers is going to be hard to mitigate. So I think teams are really going to be shell-shocked by the offensive capabilities that the Raiders do have, assuming that their quarterbacks can execute the game plan. That's always a problem. And then, of course, we have Will Levis. Will Levis, I think, is in a very, very nice situation moving forwards. Obviously, 9 games, 8 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 25 rush attempts with a rushing touchdown. 1,800 passing yards in 9 games is pretty solid. I'm not even going to shake a stick at that, man. In the edit, I realized that they have Tony Pollard, Ridley, Hopkins, and Boyd. Solid with Burks. Running back room is going to be an interesting change with Derrick Henry gone, but I think the thing that helps out Will Levis tremendously and is going to put a lot of cachet into Will Levis this year. So I'm telling you right now on 7/12/24 at 1:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time that Will Levis will probably get closer to 10 wins than unfortunately Bryce Young does, strictly because of what the Titans have done on defense. Their acquisitions and the way they've set things up, man, this team on paper at least looks like it could do some work. So, obviously we get here to the end. Didn't want to make this too crazy, only about a 8-10 minute video at worst. With Kenny Pickett and, of course, Bailey Zappi eliminated, we have these guys. Aiden O'Connell's closest with 12 total passing touchdowns. Obviously, when I'm saying 20 touchdowns, I mean passing touchdowns, because obviously Anthony Richardson does have 4 rushing. Bryce Young's at 11. Anthony Richardson's at 3. And, of course, Will Levis at 8. I personally think that Will Levis gets to 20 first. Bryce Young's probably right behind him, because I think Aiden O'Connell might take a little bit of time to adjust. Or he might just straight up not get the starting job. So that could immediately eliminate him regardless of how good he was when he was playing. Obviously not good enough to win some of the games, of course. There's a whole team aspect to it, but his personal stats with what he was putting in each game wasn't horrendous for what you, especially for what you guys drafted him at. So, and then of course the long shot is Anthony Richardson. I do think he's going to be super dynamic when it comes to passing and throwing the ball. But at the same time, that running the ball, him running the ball, Jonathan Taylor running the ball, they're probably going to do something more of what I always like to call the Debo style, where you're giving it to the wide receivers in the backfield. So it's going to be an interesting one. I could see Anthony Richardson's numbers always being close to a Lamar Jackson, because he's never going to be a sit-down, pass-the-ball kind of guy. He's also never going to be a straight-up running quarterback, because obviously he's going to want to mitigate those injuries. So, yeah, my official pick is a team that I'm not even the biggest fan of, the Tennessee Titans and Will Levis. Like I said, man, Will Levis was not my pick in this draft. I did not believe in him. I still really don't, but with that way that defense is going to go and the way the narrative is going to be, Tennessee is absolutely poised to be in a great position. As long as these quarterbacks can deliver the ball in a safe manner. So, I picked Will Levis. So, who would you pick? Because if you ever want to, you could be on roll coverage. The whole point of roll coverage is sports for sports' sake. That's why I made it. My goal is to get you, the fan, on here to talk with me. So if you are ever in the mood to talk sports, make sure you drop me a DM on Twitter. Make sure you get a hold of me, because I promise we will get on here. We will talk about ball. I don't care what we're talking about. Cricket, handball, football, doesn't matter. Right here on roll coverage with your host, Nick. Hopefully you have a great day. Make sure you're subscribed. Peace.